Welcome, everyone, to the Committee of Adjustment for Monday, October 2nd, 2023. This meeting is recorded. It's on the Township website live, and it will also be on YouTube once the meeting is over. So it'll be there for everyone to be able to see, both live and in the future. With that, we have adoption of the agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the Committee of Adjustment agenda as presented for October 2nd, 2023? Councillor Broderick, so moved. Councillor Willis, seconded. All in favor, please raise a hand. Motion is passed. At this time, I would also like to just mention that Deputy Mayor Nathan Townend and Councillor Parks are both have sent their regrets for this evening's meeting, but we certainly have quorum, so we will proceed with the meeting as planned. And I'm working off a laptop tonight instead of the iPad, so I'm hitting buttons I shouldn't be hitting. So just give me a second. There we go. So we have the minutes from September 5th, 2023 for the Committee of Adjustment. Oh, I did miss that. Thank you. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest or the general nature thereof this evening? Being none, now we have the minutes of the Committee of Adjustment for September 5th, 2023. Were there any errors or omissions noted this evening? Being none, do I have a mover to approve as presented? Councillor Willis, seconded by Councillor Ennis. All in favor, raise a hand. Motion is passed. So the first item this evening is D13008-2023 for 5375 South Shore Road. We have staff here. You have a presentation for this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The applicants, Jennifer Whitley and Chad Osmond, are requesting a minor variance to reduce the setback of the limit of the floodplain from 15 meters to 2.8 meters, and to reduce the required setback from the street center line from 10 meters to 4.7 meters. The proposed variances will facilitate the construction of a double-car garage and mudroom at the northeastern corner and a covered patio and on the west side of the existing dwelling. The addition is proposed to be set back 10 meters from the front property line, resulting in a setback of 14.7 meters from the building to the street center line. The subject property is designated shoreline residential in Schedule A of the Township's official plan and zoned shoreline residential in the zoning bylaw. The subject property is located on the south shore of Amos Island. The land slopes gently toward Lake Ontario and has a total area of about 0.52 hectares, with approximately 92.10 meters of frontage on South Shore Road. The lot is currently developed with a single detached dwelling, which is 2.89 meters from the wave uprush limit of Lake Ontario. A wave uprush study and a planning justification letter was submitted in support of this minor variance application. Staff is recommending approval of this application for the following reasons. The general intent and purpose of the official plan is met as the use is permitted in the shoreline residential designation, and there are no concerns from a natural hazards perspective. The general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw is met as the proposal does not affect amenity space or the streetscape and can satisfy natural hazard requirements. The requested variances are considered an appropriate development of land as the proposed additions will not impact the use of the property for residential purposes. The variances are considered minor as the request to reduce the floodplain setback and the centerline setback will not impact the streetscape or create any new natural hazards or aggravate flooding. The application has been reviewed by internal departments and vetted through local agencies to ensure compliance with the above criteria. All the departments and commenting agencies provided supportive comments to this minor variance application, some of which have been used as conditions to the proposed variance. We received no objections from any of the departments or agencies with respect to this application. The notice of public meeting was distributed in the prescribed fashion, which involves personal notice by mail to all property owners within 120 meters and posted on the site. At the time of writing this report, no comments were received by members of the public. Thank you.
Thank you. Committee members, any questions for staff at this time? Being none, we will open the public meeting portion of it. And if there's anyone in the audience in the chambers that wishes to speak to this, then please come forward. And there's a chair open if you wish to sit down. Just make sure your mic is turned on and provide your name and provide us.
Thank you. Can everyone hear me? Yes, great. So thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair, my name is Alicia Ackroyd. I'm a planner with Fountain Planning and Design, and I am here on behalf of the applicant. And we just wanted to say that we've read staff's report and we agree with the recommendations provided. And if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer. Thank you.
That one. We'll be taking the motion very quickly. Thank you. Any other members in chambers that wish to speak to this item? Public. Being none, we'll go to the virtual audience. Is there anyone in the virtual audience who wishes to speak to this item? If so, please use the raised hand feature and we can bring you into the meeting. Being none, the recommendation with the report this evening is that the report from the Development Services Division, October 5th, 2023, re 5375 South Shore Road, Jennifer Whitley and Chad Osmond, minor variance be received and the minor variance application D13008 2023 affecting property described as Part Lot 1, Con South Shore Road, Amherst Island, as in LA 265338 and Part 129R 8029 in the geographic township of Ernestown, Loyalist Township in the County of Lennox and Addington, and more particularly located at 5375 South Shore Road on Amherst Island to reduce the setback with the limit of the floodplain wave uprush from 15 meters to 2.8 meters and to reduce the required setback from the street center line from 10 meters to 4.7 meters with the 4 conditions attached to the recommendation. Members, do we have a mover? Councillor Willis, so moved, seconded by Councillor Budrick. Any comments from the mover, the seconder, any other? Seeing none, call the question. All in favor? Motion is carried. The next one is D13010 2023 for 166 Purdy Road. And I will just mention that we have 4 applications for the same issue. So staff will speak to all 4 together and then committee members will address each item individually with a motion. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Staff received the same variance application from the same applicants for the following properties: 166 Purdy Road, 103 Gildersleeve Boulevard, 110 Gildersleeve Boulevard, and 122 Windermere Boulevard. The subject properties are designated low density residential in Schedule D of the township's official plan and zoned residential type 2 as section 14 in the zoning bylaw. All 4 properties form part of Aura by the Lake subdivision phase 1, located towards the east end of Bath. The properties are corner lots that are currently being developed with single detached dwellings containing 3 car garages. The applicant is requesting relief from section 4.27H of the township zoning bylaw to increase the width of the driveway within the front yard from 7.5 meters to 8.94 meters. Staff is recommending approval of these applications for the following reasons. The general intent and purpose of the official plan is met, and the requested variances will not conflict with the low density residential designation of the subject lots. The general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw is met as the proposed use is permitted and the increased width of the driveway will not negatively impact the streetscape or conflict with neighboring uses. The requested variance is considered an appropriate development of the land as the increased driveway width will allow for appropriate garage access, and it is in keeping with the residential use of the property. The variance can be considered minor as the increased width of the driveway will not adversely impact grading or drainage of the property and does not impinge on the amenity space of neighboring properties. The application has been reviewed by internal departments and vetted through local agencies to ensure compliance with the above criteria. None of the departments or commenting agencies objected or raised any concerns respecting this application. The notice of the public meeting was distributed in the prescribed fashion, which involves personal notice by mail to all property owners within 120 meters and posted on the site. At the time of writing the report, no comments were received by members of the public. Thank you.
Thank you. Committee members, any questions for staff? And since they're all the same, if the question pertains to all of them, then you can ask it at this time. Councillor Willis.
Through the chair. It says that it's low density residential here, and these are single detached dwellings. Are they looking for 3-car garages so that they can put secondary units into them? Do you know?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So we don't know if they're looking to have secondary units. They just requested for the width for the single detached they are currently building right now. Thank you.
Any other questions from committee members? Being none, thank you. We'll ask in the chambers if there's anyone in the audience that wishes to speak to these items, please come forward. If you could just have a seat, make sure the mic is turned on and provide your name and address and give us your question. Yes, is the light on?
Yeah, it's getting old. I guess we're getting old. I don't hear that well anymore, and I can't believe it. Anyhow, my name is Ken Albert, and I'm director of Loyalist for the Caitlin Group. Been there 22 years. So, to answer Councilor Willis's question, no, these are 3-car garages. They're at the top of the turning circle there. Hopefully, as the owner said, kind of a crown jewel when you're driving up the subdivision was the idea. There's no criteria for 2 furnaces, 2 HRVs. They're just single family dress with 4-car garages or 3-car garages. The idiosyncrasy to these is because of the turning circle and the islands. Normally you could get away with, but they all had to be pushed off to one side. So I'm sorry I couldn't hear this young lady as whether it was what the effects were by engineering and the other staff, but no, there's none. No, there's none at all. Single families with 3-car garages.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. That's great.
Is there any other questions? I'd gladly answer. So
Any questions from the committee? Seeing none,
thank you.
thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
So with that, I will go to the virtual audience. If there's anyone in the virtual audience who wishes to speak this evening, please use the raise hand feature and we can bring you into the meeting. And seeing none, the recommendation, so I will go through them individually. So the first one, that the report from the Development Services Division, October 2nd, 2023, 166 Purdy Road, 1378026 Ontario Inc., minor variance be received, and that the minor variance application D13010 2023 affecting property described as lot 17, Plan 29M68 in the former village of Bath, Loyalist Township, in the county of Lennox and Addington, and more particularly located at 166 Purdy Road in Bath, to increase the width of the driveway within the front yard from 7.5 to 8.94 meters to facilitate appropriate garage access be approved, subject to the one condition that this variance applies to the location as identified on the drawings. Do we have a mover? Counselor Budrick, so moved, seconded by Counselor Ennis. Any comments from the mover, the seconder, anyone else? Seeing none, call a question. Motion is passed. So we will go right to the next one. And I will, is there any questions from committee members on this specific one? Seeing none. The recommendation is that that the report from the Development Services Division, October 2nd, 2023, read 103 Gildersleeve Boulevard, 1378026 Ontario Inc., minor variance be received, and that the minor variance application D13-011-2023 affecting property described as Lot 44, Plan 29M68 in the former Village of Bath, Loyalist Township in the County of Lennox and Addington, and more particularly located at 103 Gildersleeve Boulevard in Bath, to increase the width of the driveway within the front yard from 7.5 to 8.95 meters to facilitate appropriate garage access be approved, subject to the one condition attached. Do we have a mover? Counselor Broderick, so moved, seconded by Counselor Ennis. Mover, any comments? Seconder, anyone else? Seeing none, call the question. All in favor? Motion is passed. Next will be the recommendation for the next one is that the report from the Development Service Division, October 2nd, 2023, re 110 Gildersleeve Boulevard, 1378026 Ontario Inc., minor variance be received, and that the minor variance application D13-012-2023 affecting property described as Lot 16, Plan 29M68 in the former Village of Bath, Loyalist Township in the County of Lennox and Addington, and more particularly located at 110 Gildersleeve Boulevard in Bath, to increase the width of the driveway within the front yard from 7.5 meters to 8.94 meters to facilitate appropriate garage access be approved, subject to the one condition attached. Do we have a mover? Counselor Budrick, so moved, seconded by Counselor Ennis. Any comments from committee members? Seeing none, call the question. Motion is passed. And the last one for this set. The recommendation is that the report from the Development Services Division, October 2nd, 2023, re 122 Windermere Boulevard, 1378026 Ontario Inc., minor variance be received, and that the minor variance application D13-013-2023 affecting property described as Lot 22, Plan 29M68 in the former Village of Bath, Loyalist Township in the County of Lennox and Addington, and more particularly located at 122 Windermere in Bath, to increase the width of the driveway within the front yard from 7.5 to 8.94 meters to facilitate appropriate garage access be approved, subject to the one condition which is attached in the recommendation. Do I have a mover? Counselor Ennis, so moved, seconded by Counselor Broderick. Any comments from members? Seeing none, call the question. All in favor? Motion is passed. The next one is minor variance for 2271 Morven Crescent. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The applicant, Brock Clark, is requesting a minor variance to build a detached garage closer to the street line on Sharp Road than the main building. The subject property is designated hamlet in Schedule A of the Township's official plan and zoned hamlet residential in the zoning bylaw. The property is a corner lot with 46.48 meters of frontage on Sharp Road and 76.60 meters of frontage on Morven Crescent. The lot is currently developed with a single family dwelling, and the proposed garage will be set back 4.3 meters from the existing dwelling of the property. The proposed garage will also be 12.2 meters away from the front lot line and 30.48 meters away from the exterior lot line. Staff is recommending approval of this application for the following reasons. The general intent and purpose of the official plan is met as the type of development is in keeping with the neighborhood, and the requested variance will not conflict with the hamlet's designation of the subject lot. The general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw is met as the proposed use is permitted and will not negatively impact the streetscape or conflict with neighboring uses. The requested variance is considered an appropriate development of the land as a detached garage will not impact on the use of the property for residential purposes or the general character of the area. The variance can be considered minor as the request will not pose any safety hazards or negatively impact the streetscape. The application has been reviewed by internal departments and vetted through local agencies to ensure compliance with the above criteria. None of the departments or commenting agencies objected or raised any concerns respecting this application. The notice of the public meeting was distributed in the prescribed fashion, which involves personal notice by mail to all property owners within 120 meters and posted on the site. Following the notice, staff received an email from a neighbor who had some questions about the proposed variance. The neighbor's questions were all clarified and answered before the staff report was finalized. Staff did not receive any other objections from members of the public regarding this minor variance application. Thank you.
Thank you. Committee members, any questions for staff at this time? Councilor Pradrick.
I'm just interested in what was the one email, what was the basic content of that was answered?
The member of the public or the neighbor that was that sent the email was interested in the setbacks and the frontages of the proposed variance, of the property. And the last part of the consultation part of the reports details out the questions the person asked and the clarification that we gave to the person on that as well. Yeah.
Any other questions from the committee members for staff? Seeing none. Is there anyone in the chambers that wishes to speak to this item? Seeing none, we'll go to the virtual audience. Anyone in the virtual audience who wishes to speak to this item, please use the raised hand feature and we'll bring you into the meeting. Seeing none. The recommendation with the report is that the report from the Development Services Division, October 5th, 2023, read 22971 Morven Crescent, Brock Clark, minor variance be received and that the minor variance application D13 015 2023 affecting property described as Lot 9, Plan 1082 in the geographic township of Ernestown, Loyalist Township in the county of Lennox and Addington, and more particularly located at 2271 Morven Crescent, to allow a detached garage to be closer to the street line than the main building, be approved subject to the one condition attached to the recommendation. Councillor Budrick. You're right.
I'm okay.
Yeah, so we'll just amend to October 2nd.
Yes, we could make a friendly amendment to October 2nd.
Yes. As October 5th or 2nd. So moved, seconded by Councillor Willis. Thank you for bringing that forward. Any comments from committee members? Seeing none, call the question. All in favor? Motion is passed. The next one is for 42 William Street, lot line adjustment, lot addition.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I'll be presenting this consent application. So the applicant, Jason Smith, on behalf of the owners of the property is requesting consent to sever 384 square meters parcel of land located towards the southeastern end of the subject property for the purpose of lot addition to be added to the benefiting property, which is located to the east of the subject property. The subject property is designated commercial in the Schedule E of the Township Official Plan and is zoned residential type 1 in the Loyalist Township zoning bylaw. When the committee is considering a consent application, it must make a decision that is consistent with the provincial policy statement. In accordance with that, the considerations to the policies of the provincial policy statement were made, and the provincial policy statement promotes the appropriate development of the lands in the settlement area. The primary reason for the proposed lot addition application is for the owner of the benefiting land and the owner of the paying funeral home to use the proposed several land as an open space. The benefiting land is currently used as a parking area to provide additional parking for the paying funeral home. And there is no space for the visitors to have access to an outdoor area for seating and privacy. Moving forward, official plan considerations were also made, and the proposed lot addition application complies with the consent policies since there is no new lot that has been created. The current use on the subject property is of residential nature, and the proposed severed land is intended to be used as an open space. There is no physical development currently proposed on the severed parcel. However, benches and probably a gazebo may be developed in the future to provide seating and shed for visitors of the funeral home. The commercial designation permits open space use as a permitted use. And so the current proposal is in conformity with the commercial designation policies of the township's official plan. Moving forward, zoning considerations were also made. The subject property, as I mentioned, is zone R1, which is a residential type 1, and the benefiting property is zoned residential type 1 with exception 10, which is R1-10 in our township zoning bylaw. So as per the review, the subject property is currently used as a residential property and is in conformity with the zoning provisions under the R1 zone of the township bylaw, zoning bylaw. The proposed retained land after transferring the severed land to the benefiting land also conforms with all the zone provisions under the R1 zone. The benefiting land is zoned R1-10 zone as per the township bylaw, which permits additional parking use associated with the paying funeral home. Since the severed land is proposed to be used as an open space and is not intended to be used as a parking lot, a condition to rezone the proposed severed land from R1 zone to open space, which is OS zone, is also included in the recommendation portion of the application. So thus the benefiting lot, the severed lot, and the retained lot will comply with the respective zone provision subject to the rezoning condition. All other matters can be addressed by conditions if approved. The application has been circulated to internal departments and applicable agencies. And the application was also distributed in the prescribed fashion to the members of public. And at the time of writing the report, no comments have been submitted by the members of the public. So for this reason, and all the reasons mentioned above, staff is of the opinion to approve the consent application. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from committee members for staff at this time? Councillor Willis. Your mic shut off. Thank you.
Through the chair. Just for clarity, so the part that's being severed is being rezoned open space. So you said it cannot be used as additional parking space. It must be used as a green space.
Through you, Mr. Chair, that is correct. So a subsequent rezoning application would be made, and then we would have those exclusive provisions so that it won't be used for parking space. Thank you.
Any other questions from committee members at this time? Seeing none, We'll go to the virtual audience. If there's anyone in the virtual audience who wishes to speak to this item, please use the raised hand feature. And there's no one. Thank you. So the recommendation with the report is that the report from the Development Services Division dated October 2nd, 2023, consent to sever 42 William Street, Alicia and Keith Sporing, lot addition, lot line adjustment be received, and that the consent to sever application D10 010 2023 affecting the property part lot 7576 plan 91 as in part 1 on plan 29R 4449 Loyalist Township, County of Lennox, Addington, and more particularly located at 42 William Street in Odessa be approved subject to the following conditions, and there are 6 conditions attached to the recommendation. Do we have a mover? Councillor Broderick, so moved, seconded by Councillor Willis. Any comments from committee members? Being none, call the question. All in favor? Motion is passed. So that completes our business for this evening. So it's listed there. The next Committee of Adjustment meeting is scheduled for November 6, 2023. And with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Do we have a mover? Councillor Ennis, seconded by Councillor Budrick. All in favor? Motion is passed. We are adjourned at 6:31.